record on this computer. All good. Again, thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we are kept a very kind of a question answer kind of a session today. I have framed some questions for Altaf sir, and he'll be taking us through his journey with his answers. So to begin with, the very first question that I have for you, sir, is we all start somewhere, when our photography begins. And I was reading through your bio, and I read that it was one of your friend whom you had virtually met on Yahoo Chat during those days, who gifted you a camera, and from that's when your photography journey started, with a gifted camera, and there's a beautiful story behind it. So can you just take us through your journey of those days?
That's right. Back in those days, I started actually as a computer engineer, and I was working as an systems administrator in an international company in New Delhi. And during 2000, year 2000, there was a huge recession internationally, and the company I was working with stopped its operations. In those days, Yahoo Chat used to be, Yahoo Messenger and Yahoo Chat used to be very famous and popular among everyone who was, who was in computers and would, chat. So I had a chat friend from Malaysia, and whom I would, we would share everything almost every day. We used to chat for an hour or so. It so happened when I was left jobless, I told her one evening if she can find a good camera in Malaysia, because electronic goods used to be expensive in India because they used to have a lot of taxes. So after a few days, she came up with this news that she found a camera, and she told me this is for this many dollars. Unfortunately, I didn't have money to to purchase that camera. So I told her, I don't have money to buy the camera, and thank you very much for trying. And she said, after one day, she said, look, I want to send you the camera, and you can pay me whenever you have money. And I was very reluctant. I told her, look, I can be a crook, or I can be a liar. How can you trust somebody online? She said, no, let me give it a try and see. And finally, she sent me a Nikon D65D camera. It was a film camera. Yeah, it was a film camera, and I started shooting, birds, flowers, everything which an amateur can shoot. And nothing was working. So I used to go out, shoot in gardens and all that. One night, what happened? I was in my apartment, and I heard a lot of sirens, fire brigade sirens, and it kept going on. One vehicle, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it was like endless. I thought something big has happened. So I had a 4-roll, I had 4 rolls of film with me, and I took my camera on the rolls and followed the last fire brigade truck. And soon we were in this, industrial estate where a chemical factory was on fire. I started shooting at around, from 9 at night up to 4:35 in the morning, knowing that, I'm just shooting it for myself, basically. And at 4:35, I ran out of my film. So I got back, I took some rest, and at around 9:30, 10, I went to get the film processed. I got prints made, and then I had straight to the Times of India office, where I wanted to talk to the photo boss. But luckily, the boss wasn't there. Why I'm saying luckily, you will come to know about it. So his deputy was there, and he spoke to me over the intercom, and I told him I had shot something uh, last night. Would you come down and have a look at the pictures? So he came there and he looked at the pictures and said, these are nice pictures, but unfortunately we won't be able to publish them, because the incident happened yesterday and this is a daily newspaper. We can't publish something which happened 2 days ago. That was fair. And he gave me his number and we exchanged numbers, and he said, keep in touch. And so I used to shoot and visit these magazines. Nothing seemed to be working. So I decided to go back home. So I came back to Srinagar and joined a local newspaper there. And as a fresher, I was only paid 1,000 rupees per month, which was actually nothing, which only would help me with the fuel of my bike. I thought, I took it as an investment in my career. I started working as a photojournalist with a local newspaper, and I got in-depth knowledge of how things work, how journalists work, how photojournalists move around in conflict situations like that, and it gave me a good deal of experience. So in year 2002, around February, I'm getting a call from the guy I met at Times of India office, Harish Tyagi. So he told me, Altaf, I have joined EPA as Indian subcontinent chief. Would you like to work with us from Kashmir? I was like, yeah, of course, that's great. So that's how it started. And I got equipment from EPA, and the rest, as they say, is history.
But till that point, you're using the same camera that your friend sent from Malaysia. Till you joined EPA.
Yes, yeah. I used to shoot with that camera.
Wow.
Only.
Okay.
Yeah.
That has been a blessing.
Absolutely.
She's in touch with you even today?
Yes, and she never, she never took the money.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's one of a kind story, really interesting. If she wouldn't have showed up, maybe today we would not know you as a photographer. Maybe that could be the whole, path, how some things lead to something.
Absolutely. Yeah. True.
Wonderful.
True.
Thank you for sharing that story with us. And my second question was about how you got into EPA, but I think you already touched that subject as well. Before we get into your conflict photography or war photography, which could be very heavy at times for who has just joined in. So maybe we can take a lighter route to begin with. And I have seen your on your website a series which is titled School for Less Fortunate. It's something that really is very refreshing and a lot of hope and dreams embedded in that. So is there a way you could just take us through and tell us more about what it is?
School for Less Fortunate happened. It just happened. One morning I was walking near this school, which happens under a metro bridge.
You mean in Delhi, right?
Yeah, I was looking for some daily life stuff. Early morning. It was November or something, and I saw a few small children with their torn out bags standing under the bridge, and I asked them what they were doing there. They said they were waiting for school to start. I knew there was no school nearby, so I told them which school. Where they said this is our school, and they pointed out towards an empty space, dirty space. But what I found was there was a blackboard painted on the wall under the bridge. I was like, wow. So I asked them, what time will it start? And they said, in half an hour, kids will be coming, and then sir will come. So I went for a round nearby and came back after half an hour, and I met this Rajesh Kumar Sharma, who is who owns a shop, and he decided to give 2 hours of his life for the children, because what had happened with him when he was studying was, because of poverty, he couldn't study further. So he thought, he should help the kids, underprivileged kids, to study whatever they can and whatever he can, impart. So that's how he had started the school 3 years ago when we met. And I asked him if I can shoot. So the first day I started observing what was happening there, and what usually would happen, these children would come and clean the floor, and they used to have those rug mats, very old, torn out mats where they would sit on, and they had this blackboard, painted on the wall. But what have felt, whenever I visited them, was the concentration with which these kids were studying. Since I went there so many times, and I was observing them. I was not intruding into their studying. So I kept myself a little away from them. I wanted to make sure that I'm invisible. I don't want to bother them. So with the passage of time, they got used to me, and then at one point of time, they would just ignore me and then keep doing what they were doing. So that's how uh, this story came about. And if you see in the picture, there is nothing there. It's total it's ground, and nothing else is there.
Right, right.
This is Rajesh Kumar Sharma. So when the story moved on the wire, AP wire, it got a lot of attention from all over. I got mails from people who wanted to help the school with money, with stuff, with food and all that. And help started coming in as soon as it was as it was published, and more news organizations started coming and covering the story. So it became everybody came to know about the school. So after it won World Press Photo Award in 2012, the story got more attention, and people from UK, US called me to say they wanted to help. Some NRIs, actually one NRI came down from London, and he went to school, and he bought the kids new uniform. If you see the matting, new shoes, new socks, new bags. So kids were very happy, and I was very, very happy that that small effort of mine could change change some amount in these kids, and they got drinking water. they got a toilet shade, something where they used, would relieve themselves. So that's how it, happened.
That's wonderful. Power of photography.
And yeah, and right now, this is how it looks now.
Wow. They're still under the bridge, but it's become like
Yeah.
another world.
The thing is, people, were ready to build a school, but it's illegal to build anything under the uh, under the metro bridge. So they couldn't help it that way.
But the place has turned out to be something else now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
beautiful.
there are volunteers who come to teach the students, and now I've heard they've got 2 shifts, one morning and one another evening shift, 2 classes. Yeah.
So when you showed the project, the first half was black and white, second is color. Any reason behind that? It's like a
Yeah,
before after.
the first, I thought, I don't want people to get distracted with colors and all that, and I wanted to have them. I wanted them to see something particular, not to get their eyes, wander around. And the color part was to show the color which, the help has helped them with,
Okay.
like new stuff. And as they say, his life became colorful all over
right,
again.
right.
Yeah. So that was the point.
Okay.
Nothing
Beautiful way of
else.
showing before and after. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And for those of you watching, you may always, as I told you, visit his website. He has a whole bunch of pictures there. You can watch in full screen and you can really study the pictures. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing this wonderful story. It makes us very happy to see that, photography has so much of power in it. Moving to the next part, which is again, we're still not going into the war zones, but before that, I saw another wonderful series that you have. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it right. Margina or Margina?
Yeah. Yeah, it's Margina.
Margina, yeah. It's about a lady, or it's overall a story of people who come from other cities to bigger metros with dreams, and then they end up in something else. And in this case, it was about the rack picker, right? So if you could just show us and tell us some story. And how do you come up with these ideas, like projects?
See, it just happens when you're looking for some pictures, you just move, and then you suddenly see something very interesting, and something which stops you there. I want to see what's happening, and then there's always a story. What we only need to do is open our eyes and our mind.
Be receptive.
So again, So again, I was shooting for some, to illustrate some story about migrations. People coming from far off places to Delhi to build their lives. So I was in this slum to see if I can get something. And then I suddenly saw a family of 3, a woman and her 2 children, son and a girl. So I thought, let me follow them for a while and see, how their life is. And basically, that's it. Initially, we don't see anything beyond what is in front of our eyes. When you spend time, you get to know the background, the story, how their lives are, what struggles they face. So this is something like that. So this is this boy on a, this is like a hilltop made of trash. in Delhi,
I've seen this
on Delhi border.
place from far away. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
looks like a
on Delhi
mountain
border.
from far away. You say,
Yeah,
oh, it's beautiful. There's a mountain in Delhi. When you get close, you realize, oh
it's
shit, okay.
trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how these kids work is on top of this mountain, what they rummage through and pick something reusable or what they can sell to those people who who recycle things.
Okay.
So what interesting things I've seen, even the kids who are doing this work, they are, at the end of the day, they are kids and they don't stop being kids. And that's what I love about it. They find their ways to, enjoy
Even in that
whatever is
situation.
there to enjoy. Yeah.
And Marjina was a person, right? It's a name
Yeah.
of
She's
a
a
person.
woman. Yeah.
Okay. It's about her. The story was
Yeah.
revolving around her. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. About her family.
Okay. So
Yeah. This is
again,
the, this is
sorry.
the shanty. Is the shanty they live in. She's Marjina right here,
Okay.
staying there. Can you see my arrow?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So is the son. So this is Marjina, her daughter, and his son. This is one when her son was sick, and his sister, was lying next to her, just to comfort him. This is the room they live in, actually. Well, they're sorting out
The trash.
reusables, yeah, which they can sell in the market. Here she found something and she was very happy.
Like a necklace, I guess. I seen this
Necklace,
picture
yeah.
in a big.
Yeah. This all of a sudden some moment there, he picked this bouquet out of trash and then tries to hand over to Marjina.
Is it possible to increase the thumbnail size if possible on the top? Because we're not
You're
able
not
to.
looking. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were looking at the full
No,
screen.
we're seeing at a small thumbnails actually.
Oh shit! I
I
mean,
thought that's what
I'm
you wanted to present like.
no, no, I'm showing it full screen here.
No, we are not seeing it in full. We are seeing it as a small thumbnail.
Oh, damn it! Tell me if you can see the big size.
Yeah, now it's bigger. Now it's bigger.
It is bigger now.
Yeah. Now we can see two pictures at a time. Yeah.
Hold on. Oh man, it's such a shame.
I thought that's why you wanted to show it.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Subodh, if he share the screen again, it will come in full screen. You have to share the screen once again.
Okay, you have to switch off and
Hold
switch on
on.
the share screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stop share.
Yeah. Reshare maybe.
Share screen.
Oh yeah, now we can see it full screen. Oh, that is something like comedy of errors. It's okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So you saw the first
Whole school
story.
was seen in small thumbnails. Yeah. It's okay.
Maybe we can redo that later.
Yeah.
So here she is, looking for reusable. This is the necklace. He found
Bouquet of flowers. Yeah.
a bouquet, and so this is the reusable they're going to sell in the market, getting some money. So this is all these going to resell market. As you know, things in slum can't be very good all the time. So these kids were falling sick again and again, and here her daughter is sick, probably from dengue. So she has high fever, and they have to move her to a hospital. and they don't have any car or so they have to transfer her on a cycle rickshaw. This is the hospital. Back from the hospital. This is her brother feeling very lonely. So after all this, and when she was struggling, she said, she had expected something better, and since things are not working, I don't want to die in a foreign land, not a foreign in terms of foreign land, but away from home, away from her relatives. So she decided to move back. So this is when she was leaving for her hometown in West Bengal, and her daughter is very happy. She had done some makeup and all that because she's going home. Finally, they're leaving.
Hi, Altaf. I've got two questions for you.
Yeah.
First one was this a personal project? And secondly, how many days did you actually shoot this over? How many days did you observe this lady and her family?
I think I followed the family for 4 or 5 months.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, I used to go there often, maybe once a week to see what's happening, what they're up to, and if anything interesting is happening. And this wasn't a personal project. This was, for AP. I started working and then when I, it started actually building up. Then, I offered it to AP, and it was used.
Okay.
Yeah.
Altaf, a question here, that you were with the family for 4 to 5 months, and they knew, of course, that you were shooting them so closely. Did they get any remuneration in return to support their subsistence?
As a journalist, we're not supposed to pay the subjects, but the thing is, definitely, she got help from people when this story moved.
So I think in other sense is the story which should come as a help once it gets through to many people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And why we are not supposed to pay is because once they get paid, and then we can ask them to do anything. It's just exploiting them.
Alters the reality. Yeah.
Which we don't actually want that. We want them to be there, at their natural thing. We don't want to stage anything. We don't want to dictate anything. So this is at the train station when she was leaving, boarding the train. So I went to some 40 or 50 kilometers with them in the train, and then I got off somewhere, after they crossed Delhi, maybe in UP somewhere, in Ghaziabad. Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the final picture.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for sharing that so much. And coming to the next part, which is you are a Kashmiri, and many of my friends, though I have nothing to do with Ladakh, but they call me Ladakhi because I'm most of the time spending my time in Ladakh. So I have that close connection to Kashmir and Ladakh. It's it is my favorite place. So, but again, I am at the end, I am an outsider. I'm maybe a tourist, whatever it is. At the end, I'm still an outsider. But you are an insider. You are Kashmiri. So, and you have already spoken on how you covered Kashmir for European press photo. And when you do that, there's always conflicts in Kashmir. It's right at your backyard. We all know the story of Kashmir and how it works. So when you shoot there as a photojournalist, how do you see it? Like you are insider. At the same time, you need to be an outsider also. Maybe I don't know whether I'm right, because you need to play between being emotionally connected to the place and emotionally exhausted because of what you see at your home. At the same time, you need to cover the facts and put it across to the world. So how do you maintain that balance as a Kashmiri photojournalist shooting Kashmir?
Yeah, it's really tough. Somebody has said the most difficult war to cover is our own war. So in that terms, it's fit about any local journalist covering their local conflict or local war, and for me also it's same. But as a journalist, we have to draw a line between our profession and our opinions. Uh, uh, the hard part is that sometimes you get accused of favoring party A, and at times you get accused of favoring party B, and only what we can do is to report fair, fair and truth, whatever is happening. It doesn't matter who gets annoyed or who accuses you of what. So as a journalist, your ethics are, you have to follow ethics, be fair, be truthful about what is happening, and don't uh, don't uh, don't miss an opportunity of being a journalist to show whatever is happening, to the outside world. You're a journalist. You have the responsibility to show the true picture of what's happening. You can't. You should never put your bias into the stories or what you're reporting. That's the basic thing to follow.
Okay. You have any pictures to show on this regard, or shall we move to the next part?
I
don't know where these lines are coming on the screen. Someone is drawing some lines.
I don't know.
Yeah, not yours, not from your side.
You can switch it off, disable the annotations.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
I've got a slideshow ready. If you're interested in looking at Kashmir pictures.
Yes, please.
Not the usual Kashmir, just to warn everyone. Yeah, not the one you usually see in the posters. Yeah, yes, please, okay. Altaf sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I won't talk anything. You just see and decide for yourself.
That's a very good way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have any questions, just ask me.
Yeah.
All right, that was Kashmir.
As hard as it is to see those, but these are all also the reality. I would recommend you to visit Altaf.
These pictures are, these pictures are on my website. So
yeah,
anybody,
with the story, that's what I really like about
yeah.
it, because it's not just the pictures. There's a wonderful story. He's a good story teller when it comes to putting it in words. So please visit and read what he has to say about it. Don't just look through the pictures. Do read.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to ask, while covering Kashmir, do you have any political pressure before covering any scene?
Your voice
Is not very audible.
Yeah, it's
I'm
very.
saying, do you had any political pressure while covering Kashmir? You got any feedback?
Political, not me personally, but the scenario is like you have to be very, very careful with what you write, what you shoot, and you can irritate anybody like that. So you have to be very careful. It's not 100% free, freedom of expression. You have to be very, very careful what you write and what you say.
Almas, you had a question? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. So the photos you've shown us, they're very intense. So I just want to take it from a photographer perspective. How close are you to your subjects, and what kind of tools and equipment are you using? I think I'm trying to understand is how engaged are you in that particular situation, given how intense they are? How far are you shooting from, or how close? Just out of curiosity.
If you're talking about lenses, it's like it depends on situation. Actually, it varies from situation to situation, and what I want from a situation. Usually, I shoot from 24 up to 70, and in rare cases, I shoot with a tele lens. So usually 24, 35, or 50.
Okay.
I hope this is what you wanted.
Great. Now moving on from Kashmir to something even more horrendous. I read your bio about Libya, and you said when you went to Libya or even Afghanistan, you realized how better it is back home when you compare to those places which were absolute hell. And I also read that you went missing in action when you were covering Libya. You were missing for more than a day, and you were almost assumed to be, lost forever. And there was all media running across with this news that an AP photographer has gone missing in Libya. Can you? I know it's a very long story, and you have put a lot of behind-the-scene videos as well in your website. But if you could just take us through in a very short form with few words and as to how and what happened there.
Again, if I started exactly how and what happened, it's going to take long. And I really, and I really, don't, I'm not really comfortable talking about that in extensively. But it just, I was shooting at the front line when, we came under, under attack from Gaddafi forces and the rebels I was with. They had to flee, and in the melee I got stranded there, and I had to find somewhere to hide myself. So I I hide myself in a room which was behind the gas station where the front line was. I somehow managed myself for the day, and at night I shifted to a house which was nearby. So I spent the night there, and next day at around 5, we got the rebels took the control of the area again, and I was saved. So it's on my website. If you guys want to read about it, there's video also which I had shot while I was running for my life. It's on my website. How I survived Libya. You can go through. It has every detail.
Yeah, it's a very good detail, long detailed story.
It is photographs where I was hiding, the map, and the video recording also.
And what you ate, what you drank, all those.
Yeah.
It's really, really like a Hollywood movie, literally. Yeah. Yeah. Your screen share has stopped, unfortunately. Maybe just skipped.
Yeah. I'll share it once we are. Yeah.
Yeah. And now that we're speaking of survival, we know that you survived that crazy time. But again, like photography skills, yes, you will eventually learn photography skills. And but how about the survival skills? Like you get some training from your AP or any of these organizations, or it's something you learn on the move? Like we are really curious to know how you guys survive dodging bullets and missiles and understanding psychology of all those people you're around with.
Yes, we have gone through a training which is called hostile environment and first aid training. But before that, I did that in 2009. But before that, since I lived in Kashmir, I'm a Kashmiri, so I know how to kind of survive conflict and how to shoot and take care of your safety as well.
That's right.
While I was, on assignments in Kashmir, covering gun battles, grenade blasters, and protesters, and all that. So it somehow, was always, on, in my, on my mind, how to kind of survive.
Okay. And you had also mentioned in the same How I Survived Libya story, towards the end of it, you have put some pictures of your colleagues or your friends who have lost their life in Libya. And you said overall more than close to 70, 67 photojournalists have lost their life in Libyan conflict. So once you come back, okay, you're in back home and in your comfort zone, but there is that post-traumatic stress which happens to many. So how you guys overcome this, like psychological, emotional trauma?
Yeah, that's really hard, and it really hits you. Some people, everybody is different. Some people tend to have not, have no effect of this at all, or some are gravely affected, and
like
some
Kevin
are
Parker
mildly
story.
affected. Some are mildly affected. I was kind of affected with my Kashmir thing. When I was in Kashmir, everything was fine. Not fine. I mean, I wasn't disturbed or something. But as soon as I left Kashmir and I was in calm zone, say in Delhi, then the accumulated thing which I had seen and witnessed, they started coming back and started haunting that, and it was really bad, and I had to take help of doctors to get myself back, in terms of not keep thinking about what has happened and all that. So it really can hurt you.
There is a toll which you guys have to pay.
Yeah. And I'm sure everybody goes through it.
That's right. Whoever is drawing all these lines on the screen, can you please stop doing it? Really, it's annoying right now.
Yeah, this time it was all arrows.
Yeah, I don't know who's doing that. I don't know how to stop that either. But moving on, again, a question which is related to survival and all this. You already mentioned that 67 photojournalists had lost their life in Libya. So every time you step out to do, take up these kind of, operations, wherein you're, at least the army has a gun to protect themselves. You guys carry a camera and walk into these war zones. So there is always behind the head, maybe there is that, possibility of death will always hang around. So how do you guys do you guys think of that, okay, this is maybe
of course
the last journey
of
out?
course.
Okay.
Of course, you keep thinking about that, but at the and at the end of the day, it's you who have decided to be a journalist, and every profession comes with its own pearls, its own risks. So you have to deal with those risks, and you try to avoid getting hurt, and you think before going out there. You you do some groundwork, where you're going, how to secure yourself, speak to your colleagues who are there already, and get to know how to handle the situation and all that, and at the, and at the end, just leave the rest to the Almighty.
But how about your family? How do they deal with this? Every time you walk out,
They
they know this is something
Yes.
dangerous.
Yeah. They get, after this Libyan incident, they are really, really, really very worried when they know that I'm shooting something which is very, which is violent or can get bad. So they really get worried.
But they just have to learn to live with it, because of your job.
Yeah. Yes.
But is it your option, like to choose to go or not to go, or is it like you have to go from AP side?
Sometimes it's you can avoid. You can say no, I don't want to shoot it. Do the assignment, and sometimes you can't avoid.
Okay. Is there any of such projects which you have said no to in your career, where you said this is too much for me, maybe not?
Not right. Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Altaf, I had a question.
Yeah.
In a conflict situation, you know that you are occupying a neutral position. But when you are out there, I mean, there are people from different sides. They would not know that what position you are occupying. So how does that get managed? Like an enemy or a rebel would not know what position you are at. So isn't that a very tricky situation to be in?
You mean the situation in terms of the location where I am, or a situation as a general situation?
General situation. Say for example, Libya or Afghanistan, you are a journalist.
Yeah.
You are occupying a neutral position, but there are enemies and there are like people who do not know that you are a neutral position.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a well-known fact that journalists cover wars and they show what's happening. They don't have any they don't have any agendas to show somebody bad or to show somebody good. Whatever is happening, they just record it. They're just they just report. They just relay what they see. This is also a fact that for some years now, journalists have been targeted intentionally. For example, in Syria, in Libya, in all those conflict zones, they have been targeted. There have been target killings of journalists covering the war to to intimidate other journalists from coming and covering that, because somewhere or the other, people who get profits from the war, they don't want wars to cease. So there's a lobby which might be working behind the scenes to stop journalists from working. So they get targeted because journalists are easy targets. They don't have weapons. They just can get killed. They get kidnapped. They get wounded. All sort of things happen. But at the end of the day, it's a journalist who put his life online to tell the world what's happening.
Altaf, in the opposite situation, like you spoke of agendas, you've of course worked for newspapers or publication houses who are sometimes known to create or hype news and agendas or support their own and not really report news, kind of create news. Have you been subject to such situations in the past?
Thankfully, I haven't worked with any newspaper. I worked with wire agencies, first with EP and then AP, which is we don't have any agendas. We just give reports to our subscribers, and then it's up to subscribers how to deal with that news report. We have no agendas at all. We show what is happening.
Okay. Now moving to the next question. Now getting away from the war zone a bit, but we have a bigger war right now as we speak across the world. some call it World War III, which is the COVID-19. Like it's an invisible war with the invisible enemy. But we're all locked up in our homes, and at least we have that comfort zone. But you, as a journalist, you still go out because you have to cover these things. And I've seen your work on migrant workers in India during lockdown. So you have no option to stay home because that's how your work happens. So, like, can you take us through some of your pictures from the lockdown series, which is
let me.
And how do you like protect yourself during this time? Like, I know we can wear a mask and a gloves, but still there is a big risk factor, right?
Let me share the screen first.
Yeah, sure.
Can you see this big?
Yeah, we can see it full screen.
Yeah. So what you can do is cover your face, cover your hands, cover your head, eyes. That's what you can do to protect yourself. Rest. And then when you come back, you go straight to bathroom, take a bath, take a shower, and desanitize your equipment. That's all you can do.
That's right.
So this is when the lockdown wasn't announced, but government ordered malls and cinemas to be closed. So this is a picture of a mall where it's totally empty, but it's still open. This is outside a gated society where the private security checks the temperature of everybody who enters the society. These are the children. So during the lockdown in Delhi, it's one of the market. So this is when the migrant workers start leaving Delhi and start walking towards their homes because of the lockdown. They had no option because they didn't have money. All they do is they earn and then eat. So it was very getting out of hand for them to stay where they used to live. So here this woman is pleading in front of the cop to let her go. So this is the highway.
Altaf, one question.
Yeah.
Altaf, one question here, Venkatesh.
Yeah.
In all these pictures, how do you make sure that the people you're capturing, they don't become camera conscious? Can you make sure that?
In some cases you can't help it. If somebody is camera conscious, what can you do? You are they're walking, you take picture, they look at you. That's and then you choose a frame where it looks more natural.
Right.
That's it. There is no other. Like say in one of the pictures, in the earlier pictures, where there were three young children standing in front of.
This one.
Yeah, before one.
Yeah, this one.
Here, say I think this you might have gone to a first floor or something like that.
No, I was on the road. And they were in the balcony of a first floor. So since they're kids, they were looking at me, and then I took a picture.
The curiosity.
And I like it. Yeah.
And it shows the theme of being locked up.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is taken from car window. And all these people were ready to walk for miles and miles, hundreds of miles, like 400 miles, 500 miles.
Interstate, unfortunately.
Yeah, they were going from Delhi to UP, many parts of UP, which were 400 kilometers, 500 kilometers away from Delhi. And this is Noida, total lockdown. So then there were volunteers serving water to the people who were leaving. The man's distributing masks. The people trying to stop the buses. After a point when this was not stopping, then UP government and Delhi government decided to run the start the service of the buses to take people to their villages. So this is when they started allowing people to take the buses. There was a huge rush. There weren't many buses. People were desperate to get on one.
Social distancing.
Yeah. On. So these are the roof of a bus.
And when you cover this, you are in a car, right? And then you walk.
No, I was on a bike.
Bike, okay.
Yeah. So this is from a building I'm living. I can see this residential colony. You can see the lockdown. A father and son are playing the rooftop, and this is people who couldn't go to their homes, and some homeless who were always in Delhi have been living on this bank since the lockdown started, and they had nowhere to go, nothing to eat. And then suddenly government started shifting or evacuating or evicting them from banks to some places where they could live. So they're waiting for transportation to take them to schools, maybe.
And a smile in between all this.
Yeah, he's so happy to at least have a seat and
a banana. Yeah.
And a banana. Yeah. Some of them haven't, had not eaten for like 2 or 3 days. This is their belongings on the banks. You can see where they used to squat. This again in front of my building. You can see a group of playing cards and smoking shisha and stuff. Yeah. That's stark reality.
Yeah, extreme contrast.
Yeah. That's it. That's what I've shot for this COVID.
That's a new war that you're covering.
Yes, and with invisible enemy.
Yeah, right. So moving away from war and COVID, which are all quite depressing stuff, but I've seen a beautiful series from your side, which is the Kyrgyzstan, which you have shot. You called it The Land of Horses. That was the title of this particular segment. So is this something that you do as a getaway from all this madness that you cover?
No, as you said, that I take I take people on different expeditions and teach them photography and on expeditions. That was a part of that expedition where we went to Kyrgyzstan.
Okay, and that's your escape from this reality of the other kind.
Yes.
I think your screen share has stopped.
Yeah, I stopped it.
Yeah, now it's full.
So this is Kyrgyzstan. Again, I won't be talking much. This is during Nowruz, the first day of their calendar.
Okay.
Nowruz is new day.
While covering these things, you switch off your photojournalism aspect, or you're still a photojournalist in between?
No, you can't switch that off.
You can't switch it off. It's always on.
So this guy is teaching his son how to hunt with an eagle.
Eagle is as big as a human.
Huh?
Eagle
Yeah,
is
they're
as
big.
big as a human.
They're very big.
Yeah.
Very powerful. I like this light.
Yeah, beautiful. It's
Very
almost
nice.
like Mongolia feeling,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. True. It's the same belt.
Yeah, right. Mongols.
This is a weekly animal market where people sell and buy cattle, horses, and stuff.
That's almost a Ladakhi hat they have.
Yeah. No, Ladakhis that don't have
More
this kind of
reddish. I think ladies wear such kind
Yeah.
of hats.
So it's up in the mountains. I was fascinated by these horses and these horsemen. They're so powerful.
I think you prefer a very minimal editing, even in these kind of works. At least in journalistic sense, I understand you can't edit much, but even in your personal work, you have
Yeah.
very minimal editing. I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you edit much, you lose a lot of information in the photo.
You like to keep it real.
Yeah, and editing a lot of editing can actually make people, the photograph look bad.
That's right.
So this is the house where we spent 2 days up in the mountain. They're very nice people. This is a cemetery.
Such a beautiful picture. It's like going back to 1970s.
Yeah. Going back in time.
Yeah.
Just born.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Okay.
Great.
So there was sorry.
Yeah.
That was my
Fan or something, I guess.
No, there was a washing machine running outside my window.
Okay. Before we conclude the session and open up to question and answers from audience, I would like to ask one final set of images which I saw on your website. Now that we're in Ramadan season, this is the first day. I think it's a good way to conclude the session with the pictures of Makkah. I think you had of Hajj. And I saw again a photojournalist in you working there with all the slow shutter experiments and all those. It's a beautiful set of images, which if you could take us through.
Yeah, let me stop this. Let me share screen again.
Yeah, we can see it.
So this is a plugin coming out of a ship which had come from Sudan.
They come by ship to Makkah?
Yeah, from Sudan. Yeah, there was a ship from Sudan. It's outside.
So you're carrying a tripod here, right, to do these shots?
No. This is I put the camera on the floor.
Okay, tripod maybe not be allowed here.
No, it would be, but you don't want to draw unwanted attention.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is this kind of a personal project, or it's something that you shot for your?
This was part of a project.
Okay.
With National Geographic and King Abdulaziz University.
Okay. Sea of Humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Just beautiful. Just beautiful.
Is this something that requires a permission to do, or is it like allowed for any visitor?
No. No, I mean, for them, it took almost 3 years to get the permission.
Whoa, okay.
To go that close.
Wow, this is so good. This is meant for a large print.
Yeah. So this was shot from a helicopter.
Oh. You had the full SS, complete control over everything.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for all the images and sharing all your knowledge. We really appreciate. And this is the time when we open up the question and answer session. Maybe if you could switch off the sharing, and if you can go to gallery view, you'll get to see all of us. Maybe we all can put our cameras on and do a face-to-face discussion, virtual face-to-face indeed. Yeah.
Before we start, I have not more than 20 minutes. So.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. We'll do it.
Yeah.
I know it's a prayer time right now, almost.
Yeah.
So guys, can you put your cameras on and come into the session and ask your questions if you have any? Altaf, you can put on the gallery view so that you can see all of us.
Yeah, I'm already.
Okay, okay.
How does these wire services work? So what's the process of, getting images? Do you always work on projects, or do you take pictures every day? How does that work?
Wire agencies are basically news agencies which supply news, photos, audio, video to their subscribers, and their subscribers can be newspapers, websites, radio stations, TV stations. So what we basically do is, we have a whole lot of journalists working all across the globe, cover every event every day, and then send our reports, which goes to the subscribers. So in order to work with a wire agency, it's again the same thing. You approach your nearest office of any agency and show them their work, show them your work, and if there is an opening, they can recommend, they can hire you, or if they don't have any vacancy, they can keep you in their database for future, and that's basically how it works.
Any other questions? Anyone else?
Yeah, one question. Was language a barrier during all your projects? This is Harish.
Hi, Harish. Language, yes, whenever you travel abroad, for example, in Libya, people speak Arabic. I don't speak Arabic. You always have some interpreter with you. In Afghanistan, we always have a driver who acts also as an interpreter. So without their help, we won't be able to do our work. So they are kind of backbone for every foreign journalist.
Especially with bullets flying around, there better be a good translator. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Bhaskaran, can you hear?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, while shooting in the conflict zone, have you ever felt that enough is enough? That's it. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, at some point of time, it comes to your mind, but then, as soon as that scary situation goes away, and then you're back. Okay, yeah, that's good. Let's do it again. Yeah.
Forgetting things.
Yeah.
Moving on. Yeah. Art of moving on.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Anyone else? No questions? Okay. Chacha, you don't have any questions?
No, you know me. I just listen and learn. I don't ask many questions.
Any
By
other
the way,
questions, guys, before
wonderful
we
work.
head to... sorry, go ahead.
I was inspired to the core. It's really, really, really tough work. Hats off to you.
Thank you so
all
much.
All the photojournalists who are doing this war photography and everything.
Yeah,
Thank you
absolutely
so much.
true. Just inspired, like same like what I just did the other day. It was mind blowing, man.
So the whole point is we choose wrong heroes. The real heroes are all these people, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We run behind
Especially
all the...
photographers. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone else?
Yeah, I have one more
question.
Yeah, Jay, go ahead.
Okay, so Altaf sir, how often do you get questioned by people and authorities while doing photography? And how do you deal with that stuff?
I think quite often, because of my appearance, they sometimes don't think that I'm a journalist. I've been told that you don't look like a journalist. So that's something which is happening nowadays all over the world. And what I can do is only assure them, show them my ID and stuff, and then continue shooting, or in worst cases just leave and don't shoot at all.
Right.
And what are the chances? Like, say you're shooting in Kashmir, they complain that they ask you to show your photos and what you have clicked, and they say this is only one kind of story, or it shows only one kind of narrative, or they blame you saying you're purposely clicking one kind of to project one kind of image. I hope I'm making a point. I mean,
Yes.
images show only one-sided picture, or you have come in with a built-in purpose. I mean, inbuilt purpose that you want to show only this kind of things is happening.
He's asking whether you are blamed for by
Yeah,
the
no.
authorities.
I got his question. And that is exactly sometimes what happens is you have been asked to show camera and delete some pictures. I mean, it has happened to me with me a couple of times when I was shooting during curfew, and then these CRPF guys asked me to delete some pictures which I've taken, and they were actually nice pictures which would have shown them in good light, but I don't know, I couldn't convince them. And so sometimes you had to do what you have been told to.
Yeah, Richa, you have a question?
My question was women and photojournalism in conflict areas. How prevalent is that? And if one wants to enter that arena, what would be your suggestions?
I don't think women are any less spirited than men. They can do what men do, but there have been many female photojournalists around. Even in Kashmir, there have been a few female photojournalists now, and if you know Amy Vitali, she's a great photojournalist, and she used to come to Kashmir during 2003 and so on. So there is no way you cannot be a photojournalist if you are a woman. I mean, there's no way somebody should stop you just because you are a woman. You can do whatever men can do,
or even better sometimes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there actually are some stories which only women can shoot because for example, in Afghanistan, it's a very conservative society. Women can go in houses of and shoot the families there and show how women live.
That's right.
Or any woman-specific stories only women can do, in conservative societies, which men can never do. So you have an added advantage.
That's right.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we conclude? Maybe another 2 questions.
I have Faiz. I have a question.
Yeah.
For Altaf, basically, he especially in specific context of Kashmir, how does he remain unaffected by it? Day and night, he's seeing violence. Most of the time, he's seeing disturbance, and how can he afford? How does he
Cope
keep
with
his
it.
mind? Yeah, how does he cope with it, and how does he not? He's not able to take sides. How does he remain neutral?
I think I replied that it's the ethics. There's a basic journalist ethics to be fair and truthful. Whatever you shoot, whatever you report, it should be truthful. It depends on from individual to individual. And regarding how can cope is I know more I know more work in Kashmir, but I went go there for assignments. But during those days I was working there, I used to keep myself busy with camera stuff, pictures and all that, which used to ward off some negative thoughts. But at the end of the day, you are human. It comes back to you. But then you sometimes rely on your faith, sometimes on medication, and sometimes everything. Your family can help you, your friends can help you. Uh, so that's how I used to survive the Kashmir thing.